So, as you can see from that image, I really believe that the entryway for Liminal Land is supposed to be green. And sorry for any croakiness or cragginess in my voice. Allergy season. So, with this footage, we're going to be working on this whole larger tower area. And mainly there's going to be the infrastructure I set up in the bottom, and then the rest will just be the exterior of the building. I plan to have some type of transportation ride up top, mainly because as the last major callback to the Liminal Land ARG before branching out into more different ideas is because that when you look on the website, there are several images of sky gondolas, and that's a cute little thing that's not mentioned much, I guess, from other people who commentate and view the ARG. ARG unfiction series. I don't do enough to have the have that fully categorized down, but I've also done some delving into Theme Maker's Toolkit, and if you have any suggestions of maybe not ride blueprints, because I would like to try to make as many rides as myself, but scenery that would help, that would be really great. The past me here right now is scrolling through potentially what's going to be the theming for the doors, but right now it's interior theming. I guess the past me's idea, even though the pathing isn't exactly straight, is to create I guess the backrooms vibes, once you turn a corner to go down any of the shops in the first in a normal theme park, it's just going to be a long line before you realize where you're going. And then I guess to give the idea of isolation, I've thought a couple times of maybe doing a great movie ride with a scene of the back rooms, but the thing is that unless I do another iconic level, it would just be yellow walls again, and you're gonna see a lot of yellow walls up in this video. So I'm kind of using the city walls here for more of a darker interior, which really won't go anywhere, as the walls that I do finally end up using for the exterior to make it match the reference image will be very bright and allow in a lot of light throughout the day. Yeah, I briefly think of roofing and stuff. And the one thing that I'm really bad at, that I see when going into watching past videos, is the fact that this is like very early in me playing Planet Coaster. So first figuring out the best theming, then I guess just making sure things are sorted to the correct like building group. Even though like I watched like tutorials about building groups, it's something that I consistently make harder for myself than I have to. In a later part, you'll see me start one building group on one end of the map, and then all the way on the other end of the map, finish that building group, and that becomes an issue making changes to that building in the future. So I set up like toilets in a small prize machine. The one thing that I really, and I could go back and fix it, but the building's already done, is that the stalls I used are a lot of gift shop type stalls, which makes sense for like the core Main Street area. But I should have added a little more food or something to make the experience altogether more pleasant for the guests. So while this side little interior building's getting roofed up, I guess kind of what I wanted to talk about is like, what do you think is, because in every everyone in the world, especially like if they live in a area with a theme park or a like more access to their state fair, has different like thoughts and opinions on it. Like, what do you think is the draw of like theme and amusement parks? And I personally, like, there's a difference between like theme and amusement parks in my head, and I've talked about it on that 4-hour video. But amusement parks are always ride first, and theme parks are always theming first. And I believe like the main draw is always the rides. These marvelous metal things that like are kind of very contrary to what humans use like machinery for their, again, like entertainment. But I think like that one of the reasons, like the big promise of something else. And I've always been like enamored with theming and keeping like, when do you keep the kayfabe versus like safety and overall enjoyment in regards to theming? And there's a great documentary, I believe, from Sarah Z. If I'm wrong, I will have a correction down in the description, for the park Evermore. And it's so like interesting to see from like concept to final park, quote unquote, and all the issues with that. That's another thing that I'm very interested in with all those little details. So right now you see that I am using a yellow version of I think it's the vintage carnival walls, and that is because the this big entrance area with this mouth is modeled after the Luna Park entrance. And as you saw in my previous video, they do have the correct face for the Luna Park entrance. It's just so sorry about that. Hopefully I'm able to cut it out during editing. So where we left off, we were currently building the exterior walls. And once everything's finished with this particular entryway, there's not many changes that I want to make, as during the real-time sections you'll be able to see it more decorated. But if you have some small ideas of what to put there, or any types of entertainers, you can. So I think the idea, in addition to taking inspirations from some analog horror, is to kind of work on maybe making a scene from one of my park dreams. They're rarer now, but I used to have these vivid dreams of parks, and they were either wonderful places or actual murder parks, and I could download Indoorland and make the one murderer Saw a Trap, but using a ride vehicle. I think somewhere as a potential project for when this was going to be a continuation of Linoland. I think I have the closest thing I'm ever going to do to one of my other vivid memories is the image of the woman fused with the ride. And while the typical intent for this series is going to be a lot more chiller than that, maybe throughout future episodes, if people are interested, I will finish those images and post them about. So right now I'm doing the decorating around what were called the LN7 towers. Again, an old naming convention when this series is supposed to be something a little different. I don't know if I will continue with that, because there will be many other creepy aspects I won't have to do with that aspect of the park anymore. as well as some interior decoration, like adding adding benches and trash cans, which I don't know why I did because there aren't actually food stalls in here, but perhaps a way to keep the guests entertained by knocking them over or doing something. And I am placing down effects. I wanted, back when this was supposed to be Liminal Land 2.0, to try to figure out how do I get the ambient fog. And in my larger video, I did, the 4-hour video, I did something very similar to kind of try to give the dreamlike limited perspective. And while I do keep the fog, I don't keep the ambient fog everywhere outside this little like entrance building, mainly because my computer can't handle games as well as I think they do. And probably that's the reason I do a lot of audio editing, because I just don't enjoy the sound my laptop makes when it plays games. I'm sorry, I lost the train of thought. Something's going on in the background. Um, Actually, I did have, and I haven't recorded or anything, and I don't even know how I would do it. I did actually have another theme park dream. I just, I think it was spurred on by watching, James Turner build a water park. But I had a dream that I was on a slide platform and completely alone. And while I was like standing there alone, there was these entrances to 2 slides. And the best way to describe these slide entrances were like, you know, those like drops where you like stand on the platform and then the operator drops the ground off of you. It's just that, like, almost like you have to step up and there is no bottom, so you just kind of cross your legs and you let yourself drop. And kind of dream me knew, like, what I was having like a conscious and subconscious like battle on this platform. And I was looking around the slides, and the slides would just go down into these deep holes. Also earlier that day, I was playing, I let the guests into the park just to see how it would run before I named anybody, but, yeah, but the slides, complete sheer straight drops into these dark, dark holes. But, oh, crap, that scared me. Um, Yeah, so the slides went straight down into nowhere. And another thing that made me not want to go down the slides were the fact that I didn't hear any water. Like, I think even on those vertical drop slides, there's always like running water to like, so that you hear that kind of pushes you like down the slide. I'm saying it really bad because I'm focusing more on remembering it than describe than telling it to you, because you know that's how dreams work. The more you try to remember them, the less detail there actually is, until eventually what you think you've remembered is all fabricated. So again, two water slide like tubes, like pipes, that just go down from this vertigo like height into like dark holes. I don't see a pool at the bottom. The stairs I took up are both there and not there, in that way of like dreams are, where like your eyes perceive that there is maybe kind of an exit, but you can't move there. And then like the slide became impatient with me, I guess, because it became not a slide. The tubes would like bulge and push in against the platform I was on. And it was like so high up, so high up, and the support beams were so thin that I could feel like the tilting and moving that is like of like whatever was coming up these tube slides, like moving the platform. And then things emerged from the tube, and it smelled. And I tend to keep my room a pleasant smell, because like when like smells infiltrate your dreams, it's so deeply uncomfortable. But this one was for sure deeply uncomfortable. And the texture of like this creature, like the best way I could describe how it looked is like, have you ever seen like the mouth of an anemone, or those like sea sucker creatures? It was like a sea sucker creature, but with the texture of wet fried eggs. You know, like that crusty stuff that gets stuck from the eggs that get stuck on the pan. Like its entire exterior was that. And it smelled awful and made just an awful noise. None of that was like, okay. So that was the most recent park dream. There was more to it after that. Like, I woke up and I was like, oh god damn, that was freaky. I had another park dream, and then went back to sleep. And then I had like maybe park dream tangentially. I was lost somewhere that maybe was a park, maybe was a town, after doing a tour. But there wasn't anything like super weird or life-threatening about being in that one. Like it was being like high up with the freaking carnivorous water slide. So I've made the first entrance to the sky gondolas. And again, it's a callback to like advertisements and I think 3 distinct images. I had them up when I was explaining the sky gondolas on my previous video when I was trying to do this in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. That there are there's sky gondolas in the Liminal Land Park and they're never talked about. And one thing that like is a rarely used fear because like it's a mix of fear of heights, which I don't personally have. Like I've been to Seattle and the Space Needle and I love observation towers despite being like a larger person, is that there's kind of also a liminality to being high up is the best way to explain it. Like I don't think we're like our brains register that we are allowed to be in the sky for all that long. And that's the reason, like, when we see, like, those infamous TikToks of, like, the giant skeleton walking across, like, cities and stuff, or just, like, when the sky, like, to me, there's, like, again, like, staring at an empty airplane, there's liminalness in that. But also just, like, in observing, observing things for a long time also has, like, that feeling. So as this video ends up, finishes off and I'm working on kind of a flat roof, or that will make up the area around the gondola entrance, I'm just like, my main question, because perhaps like my interpretation of like nostalgia, horror, everything that I'm trying to encapsulate in this park, what does that actually feel like to you? Because like, as much as I've enjoyed like since high school things like Five Nights at Freddy's and like weird ARGs like Ben Drowned, they've never, like, besides the jump scares, which I think are like punchlines to a joke, and sometimes I've never enjoyed the setup, they don't make me like feel fear. Like Oldest View I enjoy mainly because a dead mall by my house recently got destroyed and bulldozed, and I realized like all those memories are gone. Like there's almost like a dread in the way in the feelings of like the nostalgia horror that the internet is pushing towards. Well, there might be like actual other elements of horror. It's like kind of how it feels when I don't take my meds is the best way to explain. Like a emptiness that makes your thoughts too deep, but also then that like morbid comfort of it's nap time. And I'm wondering if that's like the intended feeling and that you guys like feel. And if so, what's... My cat is still eating paper. If that's like how you feel and if that's how it's supposed to feel, and like for this park, since I won't be doing a one-to-one Liminal Land, what series do you think, what series and then what type of ride would be the best to do that? Oh look, and past me is testing the L7 observation towers. And when they're in sync like that, that's really cool. But then, like, as I'm testing the L7 towers, I'm realizing there's something wrong with the entrance path. So I futz around, and I figure out a solution, and I hate it. And I don't know how to fix it. Because I really wanted, like, the emergence from the tunnel into the generic park entranceway, like it was already a journey for these guests to get to this park by coming up through the cave. To give a hint that like nature really tried to like hide this land, and again, that was all a part of the older lore for this park. So then I try to do a perfect circle, and I'm like, well, if I do a perfect circle, I can't funnel them through the kiosk area into the entrance Smiley building. They will go around and they'll go to other aspects of the park. And it also dips too far into the other sides of this plateau that I wanted to use. So right now that's the temporary fix, and I will eventually pick a fix that I'll use until maybe later. If anyone can give me suggestions for like that pathway that has pathing issues in the entrance cave, as well as the what series and what ride you'd like to see, because I have some ideas. I've already done an open air car ride based on a popular analog horror trope that I enjoy. And I did my best to kind of recreate it as a fun, like, experience to the best of my ability to play this game. But maybe you have something else, or even like a ride type thing, like from Disneyland or another theme park, that you'd like to see brought back. What is that noise? Cat, is that you? Hold on. I've gotta handle my cat. Okay. Craziest thing. So, I, like, hear, crunching noises in the background. First, like, I think it's my cat that's been eating paper this entire, like, second part of this recording session. It's not her, because she's on the bed complaining about something, so I move her out to the garage, because that's kind of her space. And I go out, and my kitchen floor is covered in trash because of the new cat. So, from probably the last time I, like, recorded this video to now, we have a new cat. We named him Binks, because he showed up on my door at Halloween. And I think he, like, might be a fairy or some type of mythical creature, because he just causes mischief and is too dang smart for his own good. Like, a lot of the trash was, like, wet food containers for
my other cat, because she's on a special diet because she's got a medical condition, which means she gets different food from Binks, who kind of we just got the generic stuff because there's nothing wrong with him. And I just realized I don't have time to tell this story. So if I remember in the next part, let me know. If not, leave a comment and remind me. And right now, that is the park.